was born in Jonesville, South Carolina, which is in Union County, the upper part of the state, on December 11th, 1923. My parents were farmers, educators. Both of them taught school. After we started coming along, Mother put the school down to take care of the children. My dad was a great lover of math, and he always intrigued us with trying to make us do the algebraic equations that we couldn't do. But they were great lovers of education. Always read books and newspapers, all those kinds of things were always in the home. Siblings, there were 6 of us. There are only 2 of us now. My sister, who lives in Lakeview Terrace, California, which is the upper part of Los Angeles. There were 2 brothers, 4 girls, and 4 of them are deceased. And so there are only 2 of us now. My sister, who lives in Los Angeles area, was a reading specialist there in the city of Los Angeles. She's a graduate of Knoxville College in Knoxville, Tennessee. She has 2 sons. One is a newspaper publisher who lives in Hampton, Arkansas. And the other one has just retired as an electrician in the city of Los Angeles. And I understand if he manages his money well, he can live on his retirement because benefits are supposed to be very good.
All right. So are you the oldest or somewhere in between?
I'm the oldest girl. I had a brother who was older than I. Oh, so long ago.
No.
Let's see if I can conjure up all of that. I went to school in a 2-room country schoolhouse where we had the most wonderful teachers. A Mrs. Lily Dawkins, whose husband was a doctor there in the city of Union, which is about 10 miles from Jonesville. We had good teachers who were very dedicated, who made us learn even when we didn't want to learn, but we had to learn because of Mother and Dad. I left that 2-room schoolhouse and went to the school in Jonesville, which was called the Jonesville Graded School. And I believe my certificate said I finished the 8th grade there in 1938. And in 1941, I graduated from the Sims High School in Union, South Carolina, where Professor A.A. Sims was principal. And at that time, we did not have the 12th grade. I think that was the last year without the 12th grade. I left Union, went to Tuskegee in 1941, graduated in 1945 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Home Economics Education. Because my husband had been drafted at that time into the Marine Corps, I stayed at Tuskegee, went to grad school, and received my master's in Home Economics Education in 1947. And before leaving for the Marine Corps, he was a teacher at Tuskegee. In fact, he taught me physics, laboratory physics. He worked with the men of the 99th Pursuit Squad.
What did he do with the 99th Pursuit Squad? Did he teach them?
He was teaching them.
He was teaching them. Okay.
Yes. We met at Tuskegee. Of course, he had been sent to Tuskegee to get him away from the girls in Georgetown. And of course, we met as staties. He from Georgetown and I from the upper part of the state. We met. And of course, we associated with each other in the beginning just because we were from the same state. In the meantime, I was liking a young boy from North Carolina. But I don't know what happened. When I looked up, the boy from North Carolina had faded out of the picture, and he was in the picture. So this was in 41, and surprisingly, 2 years later, in 43, we were married. I was in my junior year, and he, at that time, had graduated in he graduated in May of 43. We got married in December of 43. He was working there on the school's campus teaching radio and electricity. He was a teacher of radio and electricity at that time. So we were married, and we lived. He went away shortly after to the Marine Corps. Came back, started working there again, and he stayed there teaching from 46 to 51. We ended up in 51 going to Liberia, West Africa, where he went under the auspices of the Marshall Plan Phelps Stokes Fund out of New York to open a school of radio and electricity at the Booker Washington Institute at Kokata, West Liberia. And then after that, his brother, we stayed there for a year. We had gone for, I believe, a 3-year tenure. His brother died, being only 2 children at that time. He returned to Georgetown, so we came back here in 52. So we've been here not quite 50 years. 50 years, in, I believe, in October. It was wonderful. We enjoyed it. It was a different culture altogether. We had houseboys, young men who did the work in the homes. And of course, we found that women were considered nobody as far as boys were considered. And I can remember the boy who worked with me more say, "Missy, Whitty Ann," my daughter Willis Ann, "no good. Baki, he fine." He was the boy. But it was a pleasant experience. But what was so nice about it, or unusual about it, what we didn't expect was that as we traveled into Africa, the planes were loaded with white folks. So I said, well, it can't be as bad as we have been led to believe. All the planes going in there, and of course, we were near Firestone. That's where we went to do our shopping, and that's where all this rubber was coming back to the country. But it was a wonderful experience, and it was a country where those people who had the opportunity believed in education and believed in advancement, and I think it was due to the fact that they knew that this is my country, this is a black country where I can be president or whatever I want to be. It was a wonderful experience, and we've always said we were going back. We haven't gotten there yet. Okay. When we were growing up, family was very important. Well, of course, it still is to us. We visited our friends. We went to church. We had picnics. We had barbecues. 4th of July celebrations. Of course, church was a very, very big part of our social life. My dad, one of these strict Baptists, did not believe in dancing. He did not believe in going to nightclubs and those kinds of things. You run into the devil in those places, so we didn't do that. In fact, I think I left home not knowing how to dance because of Daddy. And John the Baptist? You know? But we enjoyed it, visiting family and friends, and we have friends. I was just thinking, you say Greensboro. I have a girlfriend right now in Greensboro from Jonesville. I need to send her a Christmas card. I went fishing once.
Didn't like it?
No, I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't go more than that. But my parents were not fishers. And my husband, who lives here, has never been fishing. Can you imagine that? Where all this water is. I've taught for 32 years as a teacher of home economics.
Where did you start teaching first?
I started here in Georgetown because when I was at Tuskegee, I spent that time rearing my children rather than working. So my teaching career began here in Georgetown. I believe my first assignment was over at the old Howard School, where I taught, I believe, a history course. So long, a history course. And then I left there and went down into the Santee community where I taught elementary education. And Mrs. Pauline Lawrence was my principal, and she is the mother of the chairperson of our school board now, Charles Ann Button. I think I had a baby, my lawyer at that time, and it stopped out. And then when I went back, I went to Choppy. I was one of, Choppy opened its doors as a school out in rural Georgetown in '56. And I was one of the original faculty members there. And my assignment there was biology. I was certified in general science, biology, elementary education, and home economics. So I had 4 certifications. Always worked with a master's degree and an A on that teacher's exam. And of course, I've been a mother. I am a mother, now a grandmother, and a great-grandmother.
Tell me about your children.
Oh, let's see, shall I start with Willis? Willis is my daughter, the oldest child. She is married to Wilbert Bird, who retired as Lieutenant Colonel in the Army. She now lives, she graduated from Mather Academy, Boylan Haven Mather Academy in Camden, that's now closed. She left there and went to Mount Union College in Alliance, Ohio. That's where she met her husband. He's from that area. She was married in '73. She has 2 beautiful daughters. Meredith, who has been a teacher for the past 3 years, decided that teaching and students were not for her. So now she's studying in the medical program as a PA. Her second daughter, and Meredith, is married to David Kinini. He is of Guamanian and Spanish extraction. And Lauren is now the second daughter. Lauren is second lieutenant in the Air Force down in Panama City, Florida. She went TDY this past weekend to San Angelo, Texas, and Willis say, and Mother, guess what? That little lieutenant got a car there waiting for her. So she is engaged to Rudy Chavez now. Chavez, I believe it is. But anyway, she's supposed to be going to Killeen this weekend because he is Catholic. So they can get together with the priest to see about the wedding arrangements. And of course she said, I'm going to let Rudy take him to Catholic church so he'll have to get up and take him to Sunday school. So my daughter has 2 daughters. And she is a substance abuse counselor for the Army at Fort Hood. And her husband now has retired from the Air Force. And he is doing, I don't know what it is, doing investigative work for the Army, legal matters. Now, the next one is Bosket, Samuel Bosket Hudson Jr. He has been married for 32 years. He has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Bosket is electrical engineer. He works for Bell South in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a graduate of Tuskegee. We're a Tuskegee family. You may note that other than Willis. And Pat, when I get to Pat, there are two of us from Tuskegee. Three of us. No, four of us. Me, my husband, Basket, and Mel. Okay. Basket has 3 children, as I said. He's been married 32 years. He works for Bell South. His wife, Brenda, is from Orlando, Florida. She also attended Mather Academy in Camden. Let's see what else? Basket, an electric engineer. His oldest son is also an electrical engineer, and I've forgotten the company that he works for. Chris is a computer specialist with the Army in England. Forgotten even the Air Force Base, but he's located in England. Yvette, the baby daughter, is married to Simon Steele from Savannah, Georgia. They have 1 child. She is also going into PA, the Physician's Assistance Program. And she will be going to Armstrong College. She was going to Mercer Mercer's in Macon, isn't it? Mercer in Macon. So now she is going to Armstrong College in Savannah, because that's where they'll be living. So she'll be able to get most of her credits transferred there, but she'll be attending there. Now that's the first 2, Willis and Basket. Basket is named for his daddy. Willis is a contraction, we thought, of my mother, Annie, and her grandmother on her granddaddy's side, her father's side, Wilhelmina. The 3rd child is James Patrick Hudson. He was at one time Deputy Attorney General with Medlock when he was Attorney General of the state. He was a captain in the Army, I believe it was, and he served, I know, in Fort Riley in Kansas, and I don't know where else right now. He is married to Zena Ashton from Washington, D.C. They are the proud parents of 2 children, Rachel and Matthew. Now, I've left out his education. Pat graduated from Wynyard High School. He's a graduate of Davidson College in Davidson, North Carolina. Juris degree from South Carolina University. He's practiced with I.S. Levy Johnson. In fact, that's where he started. Or did he start with them first or with Medlock? He started with them first. Then he went to the Attorney General's office. Medlock said he saw him somewhere do practice with a case, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to want him," so he hired him. And now he's with Scanner in Columbia. You know all about Scanner.
Yes.
Okay, and my youngest daughter, I have 4 children. My youngest daughter is a graduate of Tuskegee in Business Administration, Melvina Rogetta Hudson, named for her grandfather. She has operated a bookstore on the corner of this street and Church Street for the last 5 or 6 years. She decided this year, because of her experiences at church teaching young folk, that she'd like to teach kindergarten. So she has just completed all of her courses at the College of Charleston. She called me yesterday and said, "Mama, I got 2 A's and a B+." She will be doing her practice teaching at the Santee Elementary School down in Mount Pleasant. No, not Mount Pleasant, McClellanville. What's the name of that school? I think it's Santee. I think it's Santee Elementary School. So she'll be doing her practice teaching beginning in January and hope to graduate in Mother's Day. And then we'll be all together for her graduation. All the family hope to come together for that. And then in September, we'll be going to Texas for Lauren's wedding. In June, we hope to get together for a family reunion July, out at Kent. My husband is from the Kent area. And they make it a big thing of keeping that community alive. So they'll be having a Kent reunion in July. We'll be going there. And in June or July, later in July, we hope to go to Vermont. What's the name of the city? For my family's reunion.
You're going to be busy next year.
I will be, because I'm supposed to be going to a National Church Congress in June, right after Father's Day. But busy as I'm going to be, I don't know where the money is going to come from for all of this.
It will come.
It will come.
It will come.
I hope so. I have done everything in the Georgetown County Education Association. I've held every office when I was an active teacher. This was, in the beginning, was a segregated organization, and I believe we were called Georgetown Teachers Organization. Douglas Allen, who taught here at Wynyard, must have been 20 or 30 years ago, he and I integrated the Education Association. We became Georgetown County Education Association. I participate with them on the local level, and I participated with the South Carolina Education Association, and even before that we had the Palmetto Education Association. That was the segregated group. The education group was integrated, was it 60?
60 sounds about right.
Was it 68?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, about 68. I'm trying to think. Walker Solomon, who was our leader in the PA, and Ellen Watson from Spartanburg, one of our officers. And then, of course, the National Education Association. I've attended several of their national meetings, Minneapolis and all around the country. I have fond memories of those places with pictures. That's one of my favorite organizations. And now I'm a part of the Georgetown Retired Education Association. South Carolina Education Association Retired has an organization, and the counties have their local organization. So I'm part of it. I've served almost every position in the Retired Education Association, and I served as district director for District 9, which included Georgetown, Horry, and Marion counties.
So what does the Retired Association do? What are some things?
We still work for the benefits of teachers. We work to help improve education. We lobby, all of those things. Another organization that I belong to is the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs. I'm a life member. I'm a life member of the NAACP, and I'm vice president of the Georgetown branch NAACP. I am presently vice president of the advisory board at Friendship Place, and this is a hands up program where we help those who are down and out, those who needing some help to get back on their feet, so whether they are coming from jail or whether they've had other problems.
So what kind of help do you offer?
Specifically, we serve meals.
Okay.
3 days a week. We're getting ready to go to a 5-day-week program. If they need help with medicine, if they need help with transportation, this place or the other place, if they're passing through and need help, those kinds of things. I wish I had my notes so I could be sure to tell it right. Tomorrow morning we are having our board meeting. I work with CFAX, Community for, well, I have to give you that because this is important. This is the group that's working to get swimming pools in Georgetown. Every year we have kids dying who can't swim, and we think it's a disgrace to live here with all of this water. So we have a fabulous group that's going. We have about 71 members. We're writing grants. We're going to get some money pretty soon, and the individuals are doing it. But it's fantastic. I'm going to give you some information on
Okay.
that. So I work with CFAX, and of course I work with my church very religiously, the Covenant Baptist Church, where I serve as clerk. I'm superintendent of Sunday school. I'm a member of various organizations. Let's see, what else have I?
How long have you been superintendent of Sunday school?
Oh, about 2 years.
Okay.
About 2 years.
Mhm.
And I've been
And clerk?
clerk about that time. We are a new church, about going into our 3rd year. But before that, I was a member of the Bethesda Baptist Church, where I had served for about 40, we'll just say around 40 plus years as clerk, no, as trustee, and 30, I think it was about 36 years as clerk. Sunday school teaching, member of organizations. Let's see, what am I missing?
You don't rest, do you?
I don't. I don't. I don't. I say it's good I don't have children now to be concerned with too much. I am a member of what we call the Community Forum, which is sponsored by Palmetto Project. One of our aims is to improve or foster race relations here. We've been meeting and eating for the last 4 or 5 years, but we still see the same group of people. Oh, and I didn't mention my affiliation with the Democratic Party, where I serve as committee person, precinct person, executive committee person for Precinct 1. I'm there at every election. I would like to say race relations have improved in Georgetown. But when I hear, I guess I say they have improved for me because of my involvement with the people. But for so many people who don't have this involvement with, and when I hear them talking about their problems, sometimes I wonder whether it's just on the surface, you know, and it's not down under there that race relations have improved. We would like to think that they have. Now, I know there's been quite a bit of building in the city, improvement of the structures, improvement of the streets down on Front Street. You heard about our streetscape, revitalization, Front Street especially. But those people who live on the West End are always complaining about how they are left out of the distribution of funds and the improvement of the city. But we were talking about this the other day at the Democratic Party. Education is one of the keys that are needed in this community for the average citizen. But at the same time, and I don't know how people who are not, I'll say, in the system, get in the system. It's easy, it seems, for me, but for those people who've never done, because somebody was saying when we were talking about people don't see candidates until it's time to vote. And they will tell you, well, why should I go out and vote? It isn't going to do a thing for me, you know. And that's the way they see it, because they don't see any improvement in their daily lives. But I try to get them to see, whether you see it or not, every decision that's made in this country is a legal or legislative decision that affects you. And we were saying the other day, I said, now I know we're going to have to do some education this year because we're going to have new voter machines with the electronic machines. But before we even talk about using the machine, we need to teach, what are my responsibilities as a citizen? So now I've gotten off the question. I've gotten off the question.
No, these are some of the things that you see needed in Georgetown.
And we sit and we ponder. So somebody said the other, well, we need to get a syllabus. We need to get some kind of guide. what can we do? We talk about, we use this word education, but how do you get it out there to people? Then I made the brilliant statement, you can take them to water, but you can't force them to drink. You know, you have these meetings and you say, everybody's invited. Who comes? You know, so it's a problem that we're still battling in, what, 21st century? How do you get people?
And Georgetown isn't alone.
Oh no, I know it. It's a national problem. And how do you solve it? I don't know. We keep trying to claw away at, do what, but I don't know. When integration happened in Georgetown, I can remember Pat, my lawyer's son, when he went over here at Winyard. How some of the kids would try to mistreat him, but in spite of that, he was able to achieve, because he was a very brilliant student, and he made friends with that type of student. But those who were not of his quality as far as education was concerned, tried to cause problems for him, but I think he overcame that. When integration came, I was transferred to the Pleasant Hill community up in the northern part of the county. And that has always been a community that was basically controlled by the whites in power up there. But I told everybody that was a wonderful experience for me. Those kids were very nice. I can see them today, and it's just like they are part of my family. And I don't know whether it's the way you react to somebody to make them react the way they do to you or what. But as far as going into the classroom working with white kids, I had no problem. They were just kids. I can recall the first day I went up there, it was amusing. And I don't know what, and I never found out who the gentleman was, but I came back home and told my husband, do you know there was a man who sat in his car all day at school today? I guess he thought I was going to tear down the school. He me a little woman, going to tear down the school, but I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Now, he might have been there. He might have been somebody there to protect me. You know, just like I was reading the other day, I just read about who he was that carried Charlene Hunter. Who is he? Alexander? No.
I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I just saw it last night in Reader's Digest. But anyway, so that might have been a person there who was there to protect me. But anyway, I didn't find any fault with education. But I know when schools were integrated, all the Saturday meetings that we as black teachers had to go to were cut out, because white teachers weren't going to do it. They were going to spend their Saturdays with their families. As a home ec teacher, we used to have to travel this country. Every Saturday almost we'd have a meeting somewhere. And many of the things that we had to do as teachers, when integration came, we didn't have to do those things anymore, because I think the attitude was, well, white teachers, and since most of the teachers were ladies, they're not going to do this. They're going to be home with their families on Saturdays.
So you met every Saturday as home ec teachers, but what were some other things that you would do on Saturdays?
Well, you take kids to camp, to meetings, 4-H clubs, and those kinds of things. You wouldn't meet every Saturday, but you had so many meetings that you would be attending on Saturdays. You'd go to Winthrop, or you'd go to South Carolina State College for workshops and these kinds of things on Saturdays. And so a lot of that was cut out. And I think one of the things that also was discontinued when integration came in, we used to take our kids to what we call 4-H camps, And those were cut out because I guess they felt, well, we're not going to have the races mixing and things like that. But overall, integration, we have said, was good and was also bad. We may have had access to better facilities, but we lost the opportunity to instill culture into our kids that had been instilled into us, as teachers. So we still, every now and again when we get together, we say it was the worst thing that ever happened. We thought we were getting something, but it was. And, well, I don't guess it was the worst thing, because if you're going to live here, you need to learn about each other and work with each other, but I don't know.
But we did lose.
We did
We lost
lose.
some things.
Sure, we lost.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I told somebody the other day at church, I'm a Sagittarian, and I speak my mind. And my pastor say, what is it? That's witchcraft. Occult. What is OCC?
Occult.
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 I'm a very involved person. I see myself as a very caring person. And sometimes I think I'm too involved. But my daughter sees me as an inspiration. I walk every morning, get up at 6. I have never, I don't think, slept past 6 o'clock since I've retired, and I've been out 15 years. Get up every morning about 6 o'clock, and by 7 o'clock I'm on the streets walking. And she says, Mother, you are an inspiration. And Monday or Tuesday, when I celebrated my birthday, I just read Harry Potter's books. I went to see Harry Potter. She said, oh, no, Mother, you did. I said, yes, I did, and enjoyed it. And I said, I should have left your daddy home. We went to the matinee. I said, I paid $4.75 for him, and he sat up there and slept the whole time. I should have saved my $4.75. But I'm an involved person, and I'm a caring person, and sometimes I think I can change the world, but then again, I know I just have to do my little bit wherever I am. Christmas as a kid growing up, I can see those dry raisins. You don't see them now.
We don't. I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
How about them?
Have you ever seen them? The loose one, I mean, they dried raisins, an apple and orange, and hard candy. My daddy liked that. Stick candy, all kinds of food, Mother's Japanese fruit cake that I like, and I don't make. Oh, it is delicious. And the reason I don't like it now, you have a white layer, several white layers and several dark layers, and you put all this gooey stuff in there, and I don't use it now, make it now. I have the recipe, my sister sent it to me the other day, because it has coconut in it, and now my cholesterol will not allow me to eat that coconut. Living in the country, you had all kinds of meats and fresh pork. Oh, Christmas was a good time. Church singing. Very good time. Mm-hmm.
So what kind of gifts did you make?
You'd make cookies and candies, those kinds of things. Tuskegee was a new experience for me, meeting students from all over the country, coming from a very, very small place, to realize that there was George Washington Carver there, that you didn't get to see much. There was Booker T. Washington's image there. It was just a grand experience meeting children from all over the state, country, and even the professors were so profound and dedicated. It was an awesome experience coming from my neck of the woods. And to go to chapel every Wednesday, we wore our uniforms. We had blue shirt, skirts, white midi blouse with a bow tie, and a cape's hanging up right in there now. I guess it's about rotten. And we marched to chapel. And that was a beautiful, beautiful procession. You lined up by grades and you went to chapel. And I learned songs there that I never heard. The Vesper services every Wednesday with outstanding speakers from all over the country speaking to us. It was awesome. It was mind-boggling coming from Jonesville, South Carolina, but it was good. And of course, William Dawson, world famous director of the Tuskegee Institute Choir.
Did you sing in the choir?
No. Put you in another way. Put you in another way. Mm-hmm. It was a wonderful experience. And there I met friends that I'll never forget. He planted cotton, corn, potatoes, those kinds of things. Cotton was the basic, corn. I knew nothing about tobacco until I came in this area. Mm-hmm.
So did your father own his own land, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We owned our own land, but at that time when I was a child, we were living on somebody else's land. We did not move to our land. My mother received her land from her parents, and so they moved to that land. Oh, must have been around the late 40s. All of the children had been given a certain portion. I think my granddaddy must have had about 300 acres, and of course he had about 12 children. We had been divided. Mm-hmm. My mother's brother died in Germany. He was a professor over there from St. Louis, Missouri. And so my mother's family were educators, preachers and teachers. Okay. That's what we could do back there, huh?
Yes.
Preach and teach.
Preach and teach.
Mm-hmm.
And they're two of the same, they're the same coin, just different sides.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah. I don't remember my mother's father. Okay. I remember her mother. But grandmother Sally was getting old when I was a young lady. And I don't have too many vivid impressions of her, other than the fact that they tell me the joke about her. When she traveled, she was very fair, and so she traveled as a white lady on the train going to St. Louis to visit her son. And one day in Union, she fell. And I have a cousin who is much darker than I am, and I think she's about 90-some odd years old now. She's still living. So she ran to assist Grandma Sally. And the white man thought that she was white. And when they saw this little black girl, Grandma, what we have? They said, you get away from that nigga. I ain't have nothing to do with that. I said, whoa. But
it's a nice passing story.
It was an interesting time, I guess, to live.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. Because my husband has an uncle that they think that they lost. Who did that?
Who decided to pass.
Who decided to pass. Because problems were so difficult, being black in the South. And so they don't know where he is. And I think somebody, but he told me that he always kept up with them. He always had somebody back here who would let him know. But you couldn't go there to visit him because he didn't want us to drink. So we've come through an interesting period in this country. And I don't know, but this war in Afghans going to do for us to shape us and change us and make us better. I was listening the other day when they were talking about the flag on the State House in Columbia. The one shortly after the 9/11, we were all patriotic lovers, but now we don't love each other enough to respect the wishes of others and put that flag in Columbia in a museum, which is what it is, a relic of the past. So, I don't know, patriotism, Christianity,